right, gang. Good morning. It is Life on Love. It is Friday, February the 19th, and it's a good day. It's Reverend Charles Hall. I'm so grateful to be with you. Center for Spiritual Living, Palm Desert, and friends all over the world. It's good to be with you. Another great Friday, leaping into another great weekend. Hope all is well with you. You've had a productive, joy-filled week. It's been a good one for me. Grateful for the life that I have and all the wonderful friends and family and good people. And, you know, I've was praying with a friend of mine yesterday, Reverend Daryl Jones, who some of you might know, and was just overwhelmed with these feelings of gratitude during the prayer. And, you know, I think that's one of the simplest ways when we maybe feel like we're spinning sometimes and the world's feeling crazy. It's just simple gratitude to start rebuilding that foundation of goodness, of strength, of spiritual authority, which we're going to jump into today. And as always on Fridays, gang, we're going to hear from Ernest Holmes. I'm going to unpack it. I want to hear from you about what's going on in your life, how you relate to the essay that I'm going to share, and love your participation. So Jeff Harrison, the wonderful CEO, leader of Swing Point Media, is back behind the scenes. He'll help make sure your questions get on live, or your comments, whatever they are, so we can rock and roll together and do this as a community. And speaking of Jeff, Ed, you want to come off the couch for a minute? You know, I love this little segment here where I bring you in just because we always have a good chuckle, you know, and you always have such beautiful insights about things. You know, I was just mentioning gratitude and how that can, hey there, Alfie, good morning. How that can anchor us back into our, our spiritual authority. What are a couple things you're grateful for this week that have happened, unfolded in your life, your community around you?
Oh boy. You know, it feels like there's a bit of a softening in some of the conflict going on in the immediate community. There seems to be more conversation and not just it's my way or you're wrong, but it's my way. And I'm curious of what your way is. So I feel that starting to soften a little bit. So that's something I'm really grateful for, because I know that, you know, being divided is easy for whoever wants to take us over or guide us. It's easier to split us and take over versus if we unite. And it kind of makes me very grateful for the fact that we realize we're team human. There is no other team on Team Human. We are all on the same team. So I'm grateful for that. That's
a great way to kind of simplify the oneness principle too. You know, in my Beyond Limits class last week, we talked about the idea of oneness, and that's Team Human. You know, there's one thing happening called the human condition, and we're all doing it. You know, it's one of the beautiful things about travel too, Jeff, that I've noticed is no matter what countries I've been to, we're all up to the same thing, being a human being, just within the context of our culture. So I just want to let you know and let everybody know how much I appreciate you and Swing Point Media for all the ways that you support Center for Spiritual Living, Palm Desert. And I know that you support so many, you know, spiritual communities around from Coachella Valley down over into Los Angeles, and also secular communities, and just all the ways that you bring such a powerful consciousness to the work that you do. And as I mentioned before, how grateful I am for you and you having come into my life and the ways that you've impacted me in just this short year that I've known you. So I appreciate you and Swing Point Media and all the ways that you personally and professionally support my life, my career, and the unfolding of our center. So I'm grateful for you, man.
Geez, stop that. You're going to start making me cry. I really appreciate that. I'm just, I think that I really do believe the universe is guiding all of us and giving us clues, and we just have to be aware of those clues and take those steps in the right path, on that path. And you know, you're in my life because of that, and you're at CSL, and you know, it's all good. And I thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, my friend. That's Jeff Harrison and Swing Point Media. We got to get him up off the couch at least for a couple minutes every Friday. So again, want to hear from you. Please comment, ask questions, bring your own feedback. What are you grateful for? Anything. Let's call it Anything Goes Friday right now. Okay, we're gonna talk about spiritual authority, but I just want to hear from you. I want to know you're there. I want to connect it from my heart to your heart. And even though it's virtual, we are team human, as Jeff said. There's only one thing happening. That's each of us being a human being, and we're all up to it in the way that we're up to it. And sometimes it's beautiful, easy, and graceful, and sometimes it's extraordinarily difficult. And at the end of the day, what do we have that we're grateful for? Family, a roof over our head, food to put in our bellies, loving relationships, the health. Is it sort of, as Jeff used the word soften, to soften? There's a softening. Gratitude rounds those rough edges, softens the rough edges. So gratitude isn't the topic of the day, but it feeds the topic of the day. So let's get into it here. Let's hear from Ernest Holmes. I'll read through it, unpack it. I pray, as always, that it's of benefit to you somehow. That one of my mentors from many, many years ago said, like spiritual food is like eating actual food, that we bring it in and the body knows, as it metabolizes it, where to send the nutrients to, optimize our body, where our body needs, that vitamin that's in that food or that mineral, whatever it might be. And the body it knows where to send the food that we take in, and it knows what the waste material is. Isn't that interesting? Consider that as we bring in actual food to nourish our bodies, that the body keeps what it needs in order to sustain itself and thrive, and releases that which it doesn't. That's a spiritual system. That's a metaphysical system. And so as we move through today, consider, as we're harvesting, or as we're eating this spiritual food, what is important for you to digest, and then what's not, what you don't need right now, because on a different day, different time, there's certain things we need and certain things we don't. So today I pray that something is of benefit to you we're going to extrapolate out of this essay. So here we go. This is the title: The Divine Presence Within Me is My Authority. And the scriptural passage says, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Thou wilt keep him, or her, and her, in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. All right, here we go. The divine presence within each of us is both the center and circumference of our real being. It is the infinite presence that inhabits eternity and finds a dwelling place in our own consciousness. We recognize it as the only authority there is. We know we are one with it and in it. Now, these are capital I's here. Ernest Holmes does this, gang. Hey, Curious Chatter, good morning. Ernest Holmes does this. When he uses other words for God, he'll capitalize love, or capitalize harmony, or capitalize joy. And oftentimes he capitalizes it to understand that he's referring to this presence, that he's talking to God. We know we are one with it and in it, for there is no separation from it. Our own consciousness is the very depth and height of its being, and is one with all that it is. Our own consciousness is one with it. There is an infinite self-knowingness, which we call the spirit. It is ruled by law and impelled by love. Each of us is an individual center in it, without being an individual separate from it. We are rooted in the one, which produces limitless variety. Isn't that beautiful? There's I think it was Robin Hood, the one with Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman. And I think one of the lines Morgan Freeman says in there, it's just coming to me right now. He says, Allah loves wondrous variety or something like that. Something I'm paraphrasing, but something like that. Variety, beautiful variety of life. Again, back to what I just mentioned about travel as well. For those of us that have traveled around the world, you can see that people are doing what they're doing just within the context of their own culture. Variety, the ways that we do things, traditions, customs, but it all happens within the one, and that's where our spiritual authority comes from, and that's what Ernest Holmes is talking about here. So let's keep going. We are rooted in the one, which produces limitless variety. Therefore, God is uniquely individual and uniquely personal to each one of us. That's one of the things I've hung my hat on for all of my 25 years in formal ministry, is that no one can tell you your spiritual truth and no one can tell me my spiritual truth. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine just yesterday, that there are facts and there is truth. Facts are what is. This is a white paper towel. Now, the truth about that is individual to each one of us. And truth has everything to do with how we relate to it. Truth could be, my nose is running and I need to blow my nose, or there's a spill, I need to wipe it up. Whatever it is, that's how we relate to it. But then there's a fact. The refrigerator is right there. You can't dispute that. Is that a refrigerator? Yes, it's there. Now, what's the truth? The truth is what we put inside that refrigerator to eat, to nourish ourselves. You get it. Therefore, God is uniquely individual and uniquely personal to each one of us. We are not one in God or one with God. We are one of God. I'm going to say that one more time. Catch that distinction. We are not one in God or one with God. We are one of God. The only thing we could be from. If we're of it, we're from it. We are it as an expression of it. Although the identity is the same in essence, it is not the same in degree. All right, Ernest Holmes he's breaking it down right here, okay? Although the identity is the same in essence, it is not the same in degree. If there were a sameness in degree, we would have already exhausted the possibility of the infinite. And having done so, our continual existence would be a cosmic tragedy. Listen to this. Our continual existence would be a cosmic tragedy because there would be no place to go and nothing to see. In other words, we can always plumb the depths of our being further and further and further and further. That's the nature of an infinite. So in an infinite, there is nowhere to go, but there's everywhere to go. That's a paradox right there, gang. Do you catch that? There's nowhere to go because it's the only thing that can exist, but there's everywhere to go because it is an infinite. Now, that's kind of heady stuff, but what I want to encourage you is to make it heartful stuff. That's why we meditate. Who was it that said, and I've said this before, who said we're called to drop our head into our heart and pray from there and meditate from there. So within an infinite, all we can do is exist within that infinite and explore within that infinite. And there's infinite opportunities to explore the depths of your being. Who are you? What are you capable of? What's possible is your life? Who are you really? And to continue to ask those questions to explore who we are. Are you out there? Are you with me? We are not one in God or one with God, but we are one of God. Although the identity is the same in essence, it is not the same in degree. If there were a sameness in degree, we would have already exhausted the possibility of the infinite. In other words, you've gone as far as you can go, but that's not so. There's always more to explore. Having done so, our continual existence would be a cosmic tragedy. I love that. Because there would be no place to go and nothing to see. Everything would have been used up. Let us keep our thoughts turned to the divine presence within us and within one another. Again, let us keep our thoughts turned to the divine presence within us and within one another. Deeply desiring that we become more aware of the love we have for one another and the world, may our consciousness be opened to a deeper understanding of life. Capital L, life. Remember, I talked just a few minutes ago about the capitals. Capital L, life. A deeper understanding of life. How do we do that? Where do we do that? We do that within ourselves. It's the only place that it can happen. Now, I love being a minister because I love sharing these truths. I love sharing these ideas. I love in our Monday Night Beyond Limits class, I love how we, quote unquote, kick it around. Ask the hard questions, ask the deep questions. That leads us into a deeper understanding of life. And yet, even so, as a minister, what I've always challenged myself to do is to challenge you to come to your own understanding of life. Just like Ernest Holmes is saying right here. It is not for me to tell you who God is. The general idea, the general outline, that's what a minister does. This type of stuff right here. But then encourage you to dive into the depths of your own being. Dive into the depths of your own heart. What is your relationship to it? And that's that individual expression of it that he talks about a little bit earlier. The individualization of it is where such beautiful music is made. There's not just one band in the world. There's not just one type of music. There are many, multiple, all sorts of things. Because we harness our individual understanding of it and then express that. And that's what makes you uniquely beautiful. That's what makes you uniquely profound. Because we do that. That's what we do. Whether you're consciously aligned with it or not, that's what we do. Where was I? May our consciousness be open to a deeper understanding of life. In the beauty and quiet of this moment. So I think you've seen now on Fridays that Ernest Holmes ends with these I statements, these affirmations, where he summarizes the essay and then brings it home in an I statement. Always, I'm inviting you to make these I statements, your I statements. Can you do that with the English language, your I statements? Anyway, you get me. In the beauty and quiet of this moment, I commune with the divine presence. The certainty of love and friendship flows into my consciousness, and I feel a deep peace. I give thanks for my increasingly beautiful life. How cool is that? I'm going to do one more time. In the beauty and quiet of this moment, I commune with the divine presence. The certainty of love and friendship flows into my consciousness, and I feel a deep peace. I give thanks for my increasingly beautiful life. Oh, I need to hear that one right now. Isn't that rich? I didn't know that was going to be the last statement of this essay, by the way, and I'm so glad it comes right back around to what we were starting this with, gratitude. And then we anchor into our spiritual authority. I give thanks for my increasingly beautiful life. How rad is that? How awesome is that? Yes, I was a kid of the 80s, so rad and awesome are my terms, not yours. How wonderful is that? How extraordinary is that? I'm going to read the entire thing through again without commercial interruption. The divine presence within each one of us is both the center and circumference of our real being. It is the infinite presence that inhabits eternity and finds a dwelling place in our consciousness. We recognize it as the only authority there is. We know we are one with it and in it, for there is no separation from it. Our consciousness is the very depth and height of its being, and is one with all that there is, that it is. There is an infinite self-knowingness, which we call spirit. It is ruled by law and impelled by love. Each of us is an individual center in it, without being an individual separate from it. We are rooted in the one, which produces limitless variety. Therefore, God is uniquely individual and uniquely personal to each one of us. We are not one in God or one with God, but we are one of God. Although the identity is the same in essence, it is not the same in degree. If there were a sameness in degree, we would have already exhausted the possibility of the infinite, and having done so, our continual existence would be a cosmic tragedy, because there would be no place to go and nothing to see. Everything would have been used up. Let us keep our thoughts turned to the divine presence within us and within one another, deeply desiring that we become more aware of the love we have for one another and the world. May our consciousness be opened to a deeper understanding of life. In the beauty and quiet of this moment, I commune with the divine presence. The certainty of love and friendship flows into my consciousness, and I feel a deep peace. I give thanks for my increasingly beautiful life. What is that saying to you today? I want to hear from you. Let's go. What does that mean to you? What is spiritual authority? What is it to stand in your authority? Sometimes we have this idea of authority as, this power over us. It's an authority figure, parents, right? The police, whatever it might be, an authority, the authorities. The authorities are coming to get you, if you're on watching TV. The authorities are on their way. But what is your spiritual authority? Your spiritual authority. Mary says sameness equals stickiness. Change is of the divine. Change is of the divine. What is your spiritual authority? Where does it come from? Ernest Holmes is offering us that it comes from our connection, our understanding that we are that divine expression. A divine idea shot forth from heaven, here to make manifest the glory of God, as I once heard it. A divine idea shot forth from heaven, from the divine, from the one, here to make manifest the glory of God. That's where your authority comes from. Then what we can do is move through life in our authority, to know who we are and to stand in it. And then what we can do from that is declare demonstration, to cause. If we're reenacting the divine nature, there's the macrocosm and the microcosm. Okay? Stuckness. Mary, I thought that's what you said. I thought that's what you meant. Stuckness. Yep. So we bring that back. What was it? The sameness equals stuckness. changes of exactly, stagnation. So that's another way to say, like heaven and hell. Heaven is flow, like a flowing river. Hell is just a stagnant pool of yuckness, or as Mary said, stuckness. So from our spiritual authority, we can demonstrate something. Now, there are times in my life where I am not even close to being anchored in my spiritual authority, flailing, caught up in the conditions of things, the world, what's happening around me, what's happening in my own life, in a pity party sometimes. Pity party, table for one. And then there's times where I'm in the flow, where I'm in my authority, where I'm connected to that source and it is sourcing me. And I feel it. I'm in that flow. From our spiritual authority, we demonstrate. Actually, the truth is, spiritual truth is, from whatever state we're in, we demonstrate. We demonstrate powerfully. We demonstrate the life that we deeply desire when we're anchored in our spiritual authority. We demonstrate adverse conditions when we're not anchored in this awareness that we're of that capital I, it. But when we're anchored there, baby, when we're in that groove, when we're aware of what we're of, who we are, where we come from, the real power that exists within us, so many possibilities open up. Possibilities for health, possibility for financial advancement, possibility for beautiful relationships, possibilities for creative expression, possibilities pop up. We're aware. Our brain actually starts to activate in different ways. We think differently. We think openly in our spiritual authority, anchored in our spiritual authority, anchored in the idea that we give thanks for our increasingly beautiful life. Your increasingly beautiful life, my increasingly beautiful life, Jeff's increasingly beautiful life. Just consider that idea for a moment. Increasingly beautiful life. Increase is a constant trend upward or outward or growth word. Let's call it growth word. Increase is a trend growth word. Who out there wants to welcome a greater increase in your life? An increase of the beautiful life, is an increasingly beautiful life. Now that it beautifully sums up what's in the rest of this essay. An increase that it's the same in essence, but not the same in degree. That means we can constantly increase our capacity to witness and behold and experience a greater good. You catch that? You dig that? You got that? That we have a constant increase of the good in our lives. That's my prayer for you. That's my prayer for all of us today. A constant increase of the good. There is an infinite self-knowingness, which we call the spirit. There's an infinite capacity for each one of us to know that spirit to greater and greater and greater capacity. An increase. To demonstrate more of it. Right here. Because we only see out there and experience out there that which is happening right here. And it goes back to the fact versus truth demonstration idea. There's a fact. We just both witnessed a car crash. Then there's the truth, how we relate to it. What is our experience of it? Let our experience today be an ever increasingly beautiful life. An ever increasingly beautiful life. What does that mean to you? I want you to write it down. When we get off the program or right now, find a piece of paper and a pen, go find it. Go find it right now. Today, this weekend, what does an ever increasingly beautiful life look like to you? What would it demonstrate as? What would your experience of your life be if over this day and these next few days, you experienced an ever increasingly beautiful life? One thing, two things, five things. What would that be? Ed, can I bring you off the couch? You know I love to put you on the spot. I know you love it secretly too. Secretly you love it. What would an ever increasingly beautiful life look like to you? What would that look like? Sometimes it's hard to quantify, but it's like an affirmation. We can write something down. Hey, I've got, and I'm not saying this about you, but it's just the first thing that popped in my head. Hey, my wife and I are a little bit more on the same page about refinancing the house, whatever it might be. It could be small things. What would one thing be for you, do you think?
Yeah, I think, gosh, that is on the spot kind of thing. And I write stuff down every day. So
Yeah,
this should be very clear. But, I have health goals, personal goals, business goals, life goals, spirituality goals. And I think for me, the one that pops into my mind is to continue to create opportunities for those who work with me. So that they can experience the life that they love, because I know when I do that, it will open up more doors for me and my business, and spend more time with friends and play more pickleball and that type of thing. So I think for me is how can I expand for them. And I know that if I go back to something I learned a long time ago, help enough other people get what they want first, and you'll have all you want in life. So I look at those people and say, hey, what are you looking for when you come to Swing Point Media? And so that's that ever increasing thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's a life of service too. Your business is benefiting, but you're looking to benefit somebody else, and thereby you experience the benefit and the increase of it. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. That's the on the spot segment of this week in Life on Love. Yep. We're going to start calling that one on the spot. Can we get some sponsorship? Nestle, are you out there?
We might do that.
Mikey, let's get some sponsorship. It's called the on the spot segment with Reverend Charles Hall and Ed off the couch. Ever increasingly beautiful life. Yes, eager guests. That's what we're up to. That's my sharing for you today. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Anything they want to comment on, talk about before we wrap this thing up? I love being with y'all on Fridays. I love that Jeff is willing to jump off the couch and explore and play. Yes, that is a dog barking, and this is actually what's happening. Now, what's the truth about it? The truth is, it brings a smile to my face. I love it. Let's be about it. Should we be about it today? An ever increasingly beautiful life. To live, we do that by living in our spiritual authority. Know that you are of the Spirit, an infinite Spirit. Curious Chatter, waking up every day, living in this beautiful community. All right. Thank you, Curious Chatter. Mary, thank you, and you're welcome. Says, thank you, Reverend Charles. I always enjoy your talks. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here and participating. Curious Chatter, wake up, living in the beauty. Amen. Your spiritual authority comes from knowing you are of an infinite Spirit. And that means you have a tremendous capacity to experience an ever increasingly beautiful life. Let's be about it, shall we? We continue to appreciate all the ways that you support the center financially. Please, Jeff's got the banner up at the bottom. You can go to cslpalmdesert.org and contribute online. You can call the center over the phone. Elizabeth or one of our staff members will be there to help you, 760-346-4649. Or you can text. The number's up there on the banner as well. The ticker, 760-292-2233. Eager guest, yes to a beautiful life. So again, cslpalmdesert.org, 760-346-4649, or you can text 760-292-2233. We are so blessed as you continue to financially support our center to be about the work that we are up to. Happy Specimen says, thank you for your message. When I remember to turn it over to my inner authority, I experienced before I have asked, it has been answered. Lynn Osborne, yes. And that's having eyes to see it. Before I have asked, it is answered. Curious Chatter, you are welcome. I'm grateful to be with you today. So again, thank you for supporting the center. Thank you for supporting today to keep this programming going as we keep it rolling. Daily, day. What is it, February 19th? We're coming up on 365 days of daily coming to you in community, spiritual nourishment. I appreciate you. Our center appreciates you. All is well. Today, an ever increasingly beautiful life. Much peace, much love. Make today the best day ever. We're out of here.